Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of This Week in Raider Basketball. It is January 30th, 2016, where we pick up this week's broadcast and we say goodbye to the 2015-16 season of Riverdale Raiders basketball. Hello, everyone, and thank you for listening in to today's podcast. This is Nick Rush as we discuss the postseason, which is just coming up next week. But before we do that, let's talk about the upcoming past couple of games. Let's talk about how the Raiders have done, and they have fared quite well, needless to say. They're heading into the playoffs on Tuesday night against Gulf Coast with a 7 o'clock p.m. tip-off at Riverdale High School. But prior to this playoff game, the Raiders, they've been doing great. They ended the regular season on a 3-game win streak, and it all started on January 21st when they took on East Lee County, the Jaguars, at the Raider Rock Gym on the campus of Riverdale High School. It was not one of the proudest games of the Riverdale Raiders. It was a big roadblock because the big player Jacob Tracy for the Raiders, he was out due to a leg injury that he suffered back from the basketball game at Newman High School on January 19th. So Tracy was a little bit shaken up and he was not ready to play just yet, so he sat out for the East Lee game. Quite a few mistakes here and there for both teams, but the Raiders were able to sneak through with the victory, 36-33. What a ball game that was. Came down to the final moments. And then the Raiders picked things up on January 26th. This was the senior night of the Riverdale Raiders. And they came off to a very powerful start. LaBelle at the beginning of the game, it seemed like they really couldn't catch a break. They were taking some good shots all around the attacking end, but they really just couldn't put anything in. But eventually, towards the fourth quarter, they started to make a comeback. Raiders had a lot of crazy fouls out there, a lot of turnovers, fumbles, intercepted passes. It sounds like something out of a football game, but of course this is the game of basketball, and the momentum turned on a dime, and that's what you really have to admire about the game of basketball. It's so fast-paced. Even if a team comes into the fourth quarter dominating, you never know when things can turn around. It's never too late for a team to come back. Raiders, at one point, final minute of the game, they were down by 2. Jacob Tracy, anyhow, this is the game where he returned from his injury. Very thankfully, he only missed a single game. But he came back and he had one heck of a ball game, and this time he was able to tie things up with a layup with around 30 seconds to go in regulation. Riverdale and LaBelle, they took it all the way to OT, and once again, it was tight, but the Raiders were able to come home with the win, 59-57 on senior night at the Raider Rock Gym. What a game it was. That was the final home game of the 2015-16 regular season, and overall it sure was one heck of a ball game. Fans left happy, and the Raiders won 59-57 once again. They finished out the official regular season schedule anyhow 2 days later on January 28th at the North Fort Myers Red Knights. Red Knights not having the best of seasons coming into this ball game. They were 5-13. Raiders took advantage of some big key struggles, and 63-46 was your final score as the Raiders came away with another win. Now a 3-game winning streak as they head into the playoffs. It's going to be the district playoff once again on February 2nd. Raiders versus Gulf Coast at the Raider Rock Gym on the campus of Riverdale High School. 7 o'clock p.m. tip-off. Be sure to come out if you'd like to cheer on your Riverdale Raiders. And also, before we end this episode, we'd like to give a very special shout-out to the girls' varsity basketball team for recently winning their district championship. They won it last night on January 29th when the Raiders traveled on the road to Gulf Coast and came away with a 65-60 victory, and that was your final score. So, big congratulations to the girls team. They, and the regular season, ended 16-10 under head coach William McChesney. So, last season, I remember I saw quite a few games from the girls varsity team. They had some hard times last year. They struggled a bunch, but this year it's very nice to see that they really picked themselves up and had one heck of a season overall. So once again, great job to the girls team winning that district gold against Gulf Coast. And now here's the boys varsity basketball team playing Gulf Coast in playoff action. So let's see how it goes. Hopefully it will be another big win for the Raiders when it comes to the district playoffs. Only thing we can do is sit and wait for the time to come. But that's going to do it for this episode of This Week in Raider Basketball. It's most likely going to be our final one of the season. That really depends on how the postseason goes, but for now, that's just going to do it for this episode of This Week in Raider Basketball. I'm Nick Rush, saying thank you so much for tuning in along, and we will see you and the Riverdale basketball postseason.